Well, that wasn't my best group, but every one of those shots would have killed a deer. One thing I want to do before deer season comes in is I really want to get me a new sight for my bow, and I don't really know what to get. See, this group is not the best, and I wasn't really aiming for the 12 ring. I was aiming more for a kill shot, which if this deer was upright and a live deer, it'd probably duck a little bit. I mean, every one of those is a heart shot, except for maybe this one, but hey, we got a few months before deer season comes in. I don't exactly know how, but I'm gonna get these arrows out. Should probably shoot a couple more rounds, and I think we're gonna go scouting this afternoon and then probably fishing in the morning. I don't really know what all I'm gonna do, but figured I'd start filming and see what happens, basically. All right, guys, so I'm headed into a chunk of public. I mentioned earlier, like, I'm gonna do a little scouting. First thing I wanted to mention is it's really nice weather today. I mean, it looks bad because it's all cloudy and it's rained a little bit, but it cools it down a lot. However, it's kind of muggy, and as soon as that sun comes out, it's probably gonna get hot. But these sun shirts, like fishing shirts, they're the perfect scouting wear because, like, they wick the moisture so well. Like, merino wool is nice, but this stuff is way nicer. So one thing that I've mentioned recently is I don't like putting out cameras on public land this early. I don't even like, this year I'm not even gonna worry about putting out cameras much until like probably September, late August, early September, because I have a very hard time finding bucks this early in the year, and usually when I do, they completely disappear well before season comes in. In another podcast that I think should go up after this video, depending on what I do and how soon I get this video out. Podcast is either coming up the day before or after this, or a couple days after, I don't know, something. We filmed another podcast talking about how we find deer, and I'm kind of going to give more of a visual, a little bit of what we look for during that. This spot, I found it during turkey season. I've never accessed it from this angle, this side. But I got a nice little road, and I think it peters out up here not too far, which is good. But the part that I thought looked really good is actually fairly close to a road. I would like for this spot to be a little farther away from a road, a little bit more difficult to access. But this is one of those things. There's like 3 creek bottoms down here, 2 little branches that come off the creek bottom, and there's an oak flat, which is one thing I didn't mention during the podcast, but we might get into later. It's like an oak flat that is got thick stuff on most sides of it, and it's like more open on the ground than it is up in a tree. Plus, there's some smaller pines. Like you can see out here, it would be very tough to put a climber in any of these trees on this side. This also looks like something deer would bed in. So it'd be hard to put a climber in that, but you can find one of these bigger trees and get at least a little bit off the ground with a saddle, so you can see a little bit. But sometimes that's not even the best option. Sometimes the best option is sitting on the ground. So anyway, all that being said, I'm gonna get in here and kind of show you what I'm looking for. And my plan isn't to necessarily like dial in a spot out here. It's more just to get a lay of the land, take a walkabout, kind of try to figure out what I feel. It's almost like making a prediction right now, making a prediction of where the deer are going to be in October. I don't really care what the deer are doing right now. I don't even know really what they're doing right now. I feel like their ranges are so wide before the pressure hits that, like, it's just so hard to narrow down and find deer, and it's so hard to know what to do with that information if you do find deer. So this time of year, it's basically just a trying to gather as much information as possible to predict where the deer are going to be when you're actually going out and hunting them, if that makes sense. A couple things you can do is just look for spots, look for areas that look like areas where you've had success in the past, and if you've been struggling having success, try to find areas that are different than that might lend to more success, basically. It may be too early now, but shouldn't be too much longer before you can take your binoculars, look up in oak trees, and find the trees that are producing a lot of acorns. We're getting a lot of rain. I'm hoping it's not an absolute bumper crop this year like it was last year, but I'm hoping we have acorns enough to hunt. That being said, I've done enough rambling. We're gonna get in the woods and see what we see. This spot's really close to the road, so I don't know if it'd be worth it to actually hunt this, but this is a really good example of some stuff that me and Kate have talked about in podcasts and in videos and stuff. So I'm standing right now in like a creek drainage thing. It's not really a creek bottom, it's more of a draw that funnels down to a creek. And there's a lot of oaks in here because it's wet, it's that low ground, it doesn't get burned down here really. But right here behind me, you can kind of see just up the hill, probably, 15, 20 yards, it turns into like those thick pines, thick young pines. And then there's like this band of thick stuff that's like where the oaks start. That's like a habitat edge. And then right here, right along the bottom, there is a good looking trail type deal. And then you can see there's like, this is thick and that's thick. And there's like a 15, 20, 30 yard wide band of open stuff right here. So those deer, this is basically an easy access point for those deer to get from that side of the bottom to this side of the bottom. Plus this thick stuff kind of acts like an escape route for them if they need to get out. So that's just kind of a visual example of some of the stuff that me and Kate look for. So one example, right up ahead of me is like an oak flat. I'm right on a habitat edge basically. There's fairly thick pines, like it's about neck high, brush all through here. Then there's like some thicker stuff obviously. And then right here in front of me is, it like transitions from that to like this really thicker, way thicker stuff. And there's this big oak tree right here, right on the edge. So that oak tree is gonna drop a lot of oaks on this side of that thick stuff. So like you could climb back in there, or depending on what the wind is doing, these trees oftentimes are good places to hunt because they're right on the edge of like a thicker area, not necessarily a bedding area, but security cover. I'm not exactly sure where these deer are bedding in here. I guarantee you there will be deer bedding in this thick stuff and traveling through it, especially after pressure hits. There's a good trail right here that I just noticed. But trees like that, if they're dropping good right on the edges of these transition zones, right on the edge of these bedding looking areas, that's really good places to look. It may not be a great place to hunt, but it may be a really good spot to put up a camera to see what's moving through there. It may be a good starting point for your scouting adventure. It's kind of a really good starting point because it gives you an idea, it can give you an idea of where these deer are exiting this thicker stuff and a place that they're gonna stop on their way out of it, basically. So this area right here is a pretty good example of something that I don't think many people talk about or know about. This place right here almost acts like a funnel, even though the terrain, like these deer could walk anywhere in this whole area. Like they could walk way back in those pines. There's open stuff back there, but basically I would consider this almost like a food funnel. There's like a big thick creek bottom down there in front of me, which I'm about to go towards, but there's all these oaks right here and it's a little more open. And there's a little bit thicker stuff on either side, but not enough to really funnel them. But then this feeds right in to this thicket behind me, and that turns into that last oak like bottom looking thing that I was in. So these oak flats like this, it's a really good spot to possibly catch some daylight movement, simply because those deer are probably going to get out of their beds at some point, and like this might be like one of those 9 a.m. spots where they get out of their night beds up here maybe and kind of traverse through this, get them a couple mouthfuls of food, go back and lay down in that really thick stuff where they're extra safe. You know, something like that. That's just me kind of spitballing, but also something that I kind of key in on every now and then. I think it's probably going to be the last thing I show you. I'm probably going to walk around a good bit after this, but this looks like a really good spot for those deer to come out of this creek bottom to come up to feed. And it's kind of what I was talking about earlier, like those oak trees right on the edge, but this is a little different. So I'm gonna kind of pan around while I'm talking. You can see behind me, it's all pines. It's fairly open, but there is some thicker stuff, like especially back in there right close to the edge of this creek. And then right down here, there's a creek bottom. And then over here, it's primarily oaks. So this is more of a subtle edge, what I'm on right here, and then there's a hard edge down there. But it's still 3 different habitat types coming together. So, and that creek bottom, I'm not even gonna get too close to it. It looks plenty thick enough for them to bed in it. So basically what I'm talking about is there's deer edge creatures, and a lot of times hard edges get hit by hunters, and these more subtle edges are a little bit harder to figure out, a little bit harder to pinpoint deer movement through, and that could mean less pressure, or it could just mean that there's a higher likelihood that more deer use it maybe, or bigger deer might use it, just because it's harder to pinpoint their specific movement. But either way, there's 3 different habitat types coming together right here, and it's like a little open spot here, but it's kind of thick on like 3 sides, and then it's open back this way. I don't really know what I'm getting at, other than this could be a killer freaking spot. It looks amazing. It really just depends on pressure, because I'm not super far from anything. But it's kind of treacherous to get back here unless I just took the wrong way. Because I might have just missed the road that leads right here. So we're gonna walk around a little bit, see. I'll show you if I find anything interesting, but the next time you see me, I'll probably be fishing. One last thing I'm gonna add that kind of lends me to like this spot is most of the time around here, you're not going to be looking for those hard to find trails. Like, you can look for them, you can find them, but you're going to be really disappointed if you hunt them, and you're going to get really frustrated if you put a camera up. But you're not looking for hard to find trails. You're more looking for the sign that's being left in an area, plus like just how it sets up. And then eventually, once you get closer to season, or once you, maybe even if it's more of a rut spot, you'll be waiting on the rut, then that's when you're going to go in and you're going to find the bucks. So like this area might not have much activity at all until like the oaks start falling. However, when the oaks start falling, that's when you can probably come in here and find like where a buck's rubbing off his velvet, or find just some big tracks coming out on one of these little sand patches that you might be lucky to find. That type of stuff is going to be what keys you in on where a big buck might live, instead of just looking at the spots, or instead of just looking for well-defined trails. So now I'm done. Now you can watch me fish. What's up, guys? Welcome back to 25 High. It's like iffy whether or not it's gonna rain. It stormed on us on the way down here. It's the next day, by the way. It stormed on us on the way down here, but we got the boat hooked up. We got a gallon of gas, which we're probably not even gonna run the motor that much, if at all. And we got a trolling motor that's about 3/4 to a full charge, somewhere around in there. I'm gonna try to flick around my fly rod, even though this river is super muddy. We're probably not even gonna get out in the river, but we're just gonna kind of mess around and have a good time and see what happens. Y'all stay tuned. Hopefully we don't die. Well, I forgot to film there for a bit, but I got Nolan with us. We made it to this little spot. Me and Cade and Kurt gator fished or hunted or whatever back here, and we saw a bunch. Didn't do much good, but the whole time we were back here, we were thinking, man, we ought to go fishing back here. So now we are, but it's just me and Nolan. Hopefully we can catch something. I'm about to rig up a bait caster with straight braid to brim fish with on the bottom, because that's how we do it in the South. Short right there.
I didn't even know it was on.
That's a dang good, what was that, Shellcracker?
Yep.
Good Shellcracker, good one to start the day with.
Oh, did we catch one here?
Oh yeah, I'm about to be rigged up. You want to pull one of the plug, or?
Yeah, we'll pull one.
Or do you want, yeah, that'll be all right. That's a good one. I don't know what it is. Holy crap. That is one heck of a shot. You can tell that water's been muddy for a few days. How pale they are.
I thought it had a bass when he hit.
Oh, I thought it was a bass or a grinnell. So we gotta go a little deeper for them big boys.
Yep. That's where I was at. You recording?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I'm just tight lining with straight braid. It's hard to feel a bite on a brim bite on a medium heavy bait caster. Uh-oh, there we go. Are you serious? Are you freaking serious?
That's bait right there, though. But we have nothing to catfish with.
I saw one of my bait casters catfish. Throw him in that live well.
You want me to show them this monster?
Yes. Good God, dude. You ever?
I can't.
Oh, you're getting a bite right there. You're getting a bite right there. I swear to God, your pole just bounced. Look at it. Look at it. Look at it. What the heck, dude? What is going on? No one's catching these monster shellcracker. I'm catching monster goggle eyes.
Oh.
Is that a baby catfish?
No,
I know
it's
that's.
a roach.
Oh, dude, we might have to
It's a
catfish.
spot-tailed minnow, a big one too.
Multi-species, already caught like 4 species.
Wow. All right, yeah, we're probably gonna have to type a catfish here.
Dude, we could tie up to that log right there, that tree.
Oh no.
We could probably tie up to that tree right there. Oh, that was a good bite. We could probably tie up to that tree, cast a catfish line out a little bit, and brimfish. Missed him. That was a dank. Oh, that's why I missed him.
Lord.
Yeah, cut that worm in half. I need a meal worm.
That's a big one. Whoa, big going. Oh, yes, really big.
Dude, I got a fish on. I had a fish on. Got me in that tree. I think. I'm gonna say it. Makes me feel better. I got a snag. Ooh, I'm sketched out now. I'm standing on some houseboat. We decided to take shelter from the rain for just a minute. And I figured, why not cast a line? This cypress tree certainly looks like a spot. It should at least have a goggle eye or two in there. Alright guys, so I'm editing this video right now, just kind of made it to the end and realized that it's kind of an abrupt end and I didn't film an outro for this. So basically, as you could tell, it started raining right there at the end pretty hard. We kept looking at the radar and it looked like it kept wanting to clear up, but we looked up in the sky and it was just black all around us, the whole everything. So we kind of manned up and just planed that boat right off all the way back to the landing and made it back and decided to just get out of it because we didn't know if it was going to start thundering, we didn't know if it was going to start lightning, and plus if that river was to rise really, really fast, it could get a little dangerous in a small boat. So we just decided it would probably be best to head out of there. But we did catch some fish, and we caught a few that I didn't show you, but they were mostly just shellcrackers out kind of deep on some wood cover structure type stuff. Shellcrackers are pretty awesome to catch and they're pretty fun and they get big occasionally. So anyway, it was a good day. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to see more of this like kind of like vlog style stuff, let me know in the comments. If you like our hats, they're linked down below. Podcast is coming back. Me and Kay just filmed a podcast yesterday. So they're coming back. We don't really have a schedule. We just sort of post them. If you don't want to, and if you don't want to listen to them, or if you don't want to watch them, you can listen to them. If you don't want to just listen to them, you can also watch them on the YouTube. So you can hear them anywhere podcasts are available. But anyway, I got to get some work done. I hope you guys enjoyed. Always remember to live like 25. We'll see you next time.